like, what am I doing? I'm doing network marketing. It was an anti-aging company. I'm like, what do? I can't call my buddies up and say, hey dude, do you want to come over and have a free facial? So I'm like trying to figure this thing out. Like I didn't know what to do. And so the first 2 days, I talked to nobody. Literally, nobody. And my mentor calls me up and he says, Rob, he said, get me on the phone with somebody right now or I'm done with you. Pretty harsh. This guy's one of the best recruiters in the world and was a really good friend of mine. And I've never seen this guy like where he comes out all aggressive. And I'm like, well, I work till 2 p.m. I'm teaching tennis. This is great. He says, 2 p.m. you better have somebody on the phone with me or I'm done with you. And he said, I'm telling you that because I love you. And if you want to succeed in this business, it's now or never. He said, urgency is synonymous with wealth. And I thought about that. And then he hung up on me. So I'm like frantically, crap. Like I keep trying to push it off. Now I got to call people. Man, so I started out and 2 p.m. I ended up calling people all the way until 10 p.m. that night. It was a Friday night. And I got my business launched and had some success those first 3 weeks. I actually had a ton of success. I wasn't that great, but I contacted enough people that I did my part. I became the connector. And I tell you guys that story because I would have been a casualty in this business. Literally. If I wouldn't have had somebody that just came to me and said, listen, it's now or never, in a loving way, I would have never launched in this business. I would probably still be at the tennis club right now. I wouldn't have time freedom. Yes, I've gone through highs and lows, and we'll talk about that later in my presentation today, but I feel like that was a critical point. So for you guys, I'm going to talk to you guys just briefly about principles. Urgency is synonymous with wealth. Calvin talked about those first 48 hours. I believe when you start this business, you're on life support. You are. It's like everything's just touchy. Something could go wrong, and when you start this business, they're done. You know, a friend calls up and is like, you're doing network marketing? I had my friend or my aunt who failed at that, so it's not going to work for you, right? And then they're just done. It doesn't matter the reason, or something happens. So the very beginning, when you can help them to make contacts, when you can help them to have a little bit of success, okay, progression, now all of a sudden what you've done is you've taken that life support and given them more oxygen. So now maybe they can last in the month for a month or two. And as you help them to grow their group, now maybe they're up to 4 or 5 months. And eventually our goal is to get them off of life support. We want to get them where they can stand on their own 2 feet and say, yeah, I can do this. But if you're good, don't think everybody's like you. You don't know what they're going through. Remember at the very beginning how scary it was when you picked up that phone and you didn't know what you were doing. So help them. And you may say, well, how do I do that? I'm not very good. I just started as well. A lot of it is belief. A lot of it is you can still get some of your leaders and your upline and they can step in and help. I believe when we join a company and when you join a group, it's like 2 companies merging. So maybe you have your weaknesses and you're not very good at whatever, and someone else, is better at that, and they're not good at something. But when 2 companies merge, the goal is to hide the weaknesses and accentuate the strengths. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. So when you go to that, and those basic things when you're starting, that's super important. Our compensation plan. One of the first focuses is you're doing all these basics now, is to go square, right? Help people find their four. It helps them to make their money back. And it simplifies things. It simplifies everything for them. So you're helping people to go square because you want to help them to make their money back. It's a goal. You let them know it's not the end of the world if we don't do it. Again, because I don't believe that this is a sprint and I don't believe this is a marathon. It's a bunch of short races. That's what this is. And so you're helping. It's not the end of the world if you don't go square, but we need to set a goal and I want to help you. And so now we're doing both of. My goal is always to balance managing expectations, but also dreaming big. And that's a tough balance to have in this industry, because you go to one extreme and it's like, yeah, you make 50 grand a month. It's like, everyone has different goals, like Calvin said. Ask them their goals. It's about them. It's not about you. But then if you go to the managed expectations where it's so low, like, yeah, you're not going to make money forever. That's boring, right? So you got to find the best of both worlds where you help them and explain that to them. A couple other things. as you guys get started and launched that are important that I learned. There's a thing called red time and green time. Red time, okay? Red time is like studying the trainings and reading GoPro and all this stuff. That is super important to your business. Green time is talking to new people. All the time I have people in this business that start out like, yeah, I worked 10 hours this week. I'm like, awesome. How many people did you talk to? Oh, I didn't talk to anybody yet. They're making the plan for the plan of the plan of the plan, right? And it's like it makes us feel good because we're putting everything off, but you have to understand red time and green time. Red time is when nobody's available to talk. Maybe it's a busy time during work. Maybe it's late at night. Maybe it's early in the morning. But green time is talking to new people. And so you have to learn to manage your time efficiently because we all want to be entrepreneurs. Everybody does. But then all of a sudden they become entrepreneurs and they don't have a boss telling them what to do and when to do it. And so they're like, oh good, well, I'll do this, I'll do that. And they put everything off. They become master procrastinators and they become very effective at doing everything that's ineffective, right? Is that true? Has anybody ever done that before? You feel like you're working? I went to the meeting. I read the book today. I watched this training video. Did you talk to anybody new? You guys can talk to somebody new every single day.
Right, they say that being busy isn't the same as working, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about 10 hours of being busy this week. I went to all these meetings, I went to watch one of my teammates do a one-on-one. Like if you're not actually, it's not about you, it's not about the doing, then nothing's gonna come of it, right? There's these people that just show up to the super opens every other Tuesday. They're the meeting junkies. They don't do any prospecting during the week. They don't set up the one-on-ones. They don't do some of the things I told you guys about. And then they wonder why they're not successful. I've been doing this for 2 years. I've been busy every single week.
It's better than nothing. Mm-hmm. It's better show up to me because maybe you're like, hey, I know I haven't done anything, but it's going to recharge me. But don't pretend like you're working and lie to yourself, right? You've got to work. You've got to be talking to new people as you do this business. A couple other things. People always ask me like, I want to grow this internationally. Where are we going next? Oh, I've got all these other states because, my area is different. It's funny. Everywhere I've traveled around the world, their area is a little bit harder than everywhere else. Every single, you don't understand. No, you don't, that's how it starts. You don't understand. And they talk about their area. Oh, we're different. We've had this, we've had that. We're too poor, we're too rich. It's pretty funny. Like, to travel around the world, it's like the same exact excuse.
The same exact thing. India, Thailand, Germany.
And this guy's traveled way more places than I have.
It's the same everywhere. People here don't really like network marketing, right? We're all humans. People have the same exact behaviors everywhere. It doesn't matter what language or what culture they have. We're all the same. Everywhere people are looking for an opportunity. And everywhere there are negative people.
So what I teach people is cities, states, and countries. Cities, states, and countries. Always start in your own city.
We just opened Vegas, you guys.
Yeah, right here. We're opening Vegas, grand open pre-launch. Let's pre-launch for a day or two, and then we'll open it. But city, states, and countries. So you start in your own city. Why? Because think how hard this business was for you when you started. Imagine if they're in a city and they're just starting, they don't have that support. So if you can, I always tell people, try to start in your own city. Now I know there's exceptions to the rules, so I'm teaching principles. Maybe you have a really big leader you feel like can stand on their own 2 feet and they're in an area where your line of sponsorship has people there. I get it. So I'm teaching principles, not rules. There are exceptions to every rule. So you start inside your city and you grow within. That's what I've always done. I live in Utah, the network marketing capital of the world, where there's like 5 companies every single block. People are like, yeah, why is that? Like, no, it's seriously, it's like, you just ask them, like, hey, how many companies have you been in? And it's like at least 5 in Utah, and I still start there. That's how I started my group and grew my group. I still started there. So it's cities, states, shout out to Utah. Cities, states, countries, you guys do this. Last couple things, because I think I only have 3 minutes, is I teach people, have vision as the first thing when you're launching, okay? It's perspective. And everybody always talks about leadership, and the word leader actually means pathfinder, okay? That's what leader means. It's a pathfinder. So having the vision, I feel like, most people get that in this business if they start. You know what the hardest part, the second part to that is? I think it's the hardest part. It's learning to give the vision. Because you have it. You know what this is. You know what it can do for your life. You know what it can do for others. You're like, oh, if they would just take a look. It takes, what did Eric Warrior say? Was it 15,000, 20,000 hours for a lawyer? It takes a while to learn to give that vision. When I started this business, I was an incredible connector. But I couldn't present. I couldn't present even in front of one person. I had my hands in my pocket. I was super uncomfortable. I know that they were because I was like this far away from them. They're like, who is this creeper? I didn't know what I was doing, But I had the vision. And I knew eventually I would learn how to give that vision. And part of that is I think, Calvin talked about, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Let them know about all the packages. Sometimes we get so scared that we don't want to ask for the higher package. It's not about you. Don't make your issues their issues. It's about them. So I tell people to take charge and tell people what to do, but not in an overbearing way where it's like, I'm your boss. No. It's take charge and tell people what to do in the sense of thing. When you were in school, your teachers told you what to do. Your parents told you what to do. You get a job, you're told what to do. It's in a way, sometimes it's taking charge as the leader of, I'll give you an example of, someone says on a scale 1 to 10, they're 7 and they want to do this business. And I say to them, you know what, that's awesome. Let's do this together. We're going to get you signed up. We're going to make this happen. And I'm going to help you. Does that make sense? It's not being overbearing. But that's leadership. If you're not sure, they're not sure. Remember that. If you're not sure, they're not sure. Well, are you sure you want to do this? Good luck. Don't be, I know it's a fine balance. Don't be overbearing. You don't need to be a jerk. But take charge and be a leader and be confident. The world loves boldness. It makes it where people are curious. It's contagious. And it makes a huge difference in this. So I think my time's up. Calvin's time's up. I'm super grateful for you guys. Grateful you guys to come here.
Hey, you guys. We talked about here about teams and about this friendly competition, but I want to let you guys know that we have our individual teams that we're working with every single week, but we're a big family.
We are.
Don't be afraid to, if you're on my team, to contact Rob because you might relate to him. Don't be afraid to contact me. We trust each other, and that's what we're going to build. We're going to make this Mynt opportunity.
And that goes for all the other teams. We're all friends, and we tell everybody whatever your upline tells you to do it. They're right. So if I tell you to do something that's just a little bit wrong, you know what? There's different paths to get to the same place. Whatever your upline tells you to do it. We're all one team. We're going to help you guys, and we're going to crush it this year.
All right, let's kill it, guys.